Imagine a country becoming so thirsty that it decided to change the course of its rivers, 4,000 kilometers, 45 billion cubic meters of water, every year. Northern China was drying up, while in the south, water was flowing away and being wasted. And then, a decision was made that would change history. Friends, every major civilization in the world developed around water: the Nile River, the Tigris and Euphrates, and China's Yellow River. All of them gave birth to cities, supported agriculture, and built civilizations. Water is not just a resource, it is the foundation of life. Where there is water, there is life, development, cities, and thriving civilizations. But China faced a very unusual and serious contradiction. Most of the country's water was in the south, while its largest cities, industrial centers, and political hubs were located in the north. Beijing, the capital of China, where more than 20 million people live, is located in a region that faces severe water scarcity. Annual rainfall here is low, and natural water sources are limited. For years, cities and villages in northern China relied on groundwater to meet their needs. Farmers used it for irrigation, factories depended on it for production, and cities used it to supply water through pipelines. But there was a serious problem. This groundwater had accumulated slowly over thousands of years, but humans began extracting it rapidly within just a few decades. Gradually, the situation worsened. Groundwater levels kept falling. In many places, the water table dropped by more than 1 meter every year. In some regions, it declined by as much as 30 meters compared to levels in the 1960s. This didn't just affect water availability. Caused land subsidence. In several cities, the ground began to sink, affecting buildings and infrastructure. Agriculture was also heavily impacted. Farmers who once accessed water easily now had to dig deeper wells, increasing costs and reducing productivity. Then came another major crisis. One of China's most historic and important rivers, the Yellow River, which had flowed for thousands of years, began to fail. During the 1990s, there were multiple instances when the river failed to reach the sea. In 1997, the situation became so severe that the river did not reach the sea for over 200 days. Imagine that, a river that once gave birth to civilization was now drying up. Now look at southern China. The Yangtze River, which is the longest river in all of Asia, carries massive amounts of water every single year. Flooding is also a frequent problem in this region. So, within one country, there were two completely opposite situations. The north faced drought and severe water shortages, while the south had excess water that was, honestly, pretty difficult to manage. This was not just an environmental issue. It was becoming, an economic and social crisis. So the question was, what could be done? Should cities be relocated? Should industries be shifted south? Should agricultural patterns change? Or should the water itself be moved to where it was needed? Back in 1952, Mao Zedong proposed an idea. He said that since the south has plenty of water and the north has less, maybe the country should borrow water from the south. At the time, this idea seemed enormous and honestly almost impossible. China just didn't have the technology or the resources to move water across thousands of kilometers. But, over time, circumstances changed. After 1978, China began economic reforms. Industries grew rapidly, cities expanded, and the country entered a phase of rapid development. With all this growth, water demand also increased significantly. Now the time had come when this impossible idea became a necessary solution. China decided to transfer water from the south to the north, and with that, the world's largest water management project began, the South-North Water Transfer Project. This is not just a canal. It is a massive network connecting rivers, lakes, dams, tunnels, and pumping stations. So, its goal is to transfer around 45 billion cubic meters of water every year from south to north. The project is divided into 3 main routes: the eastern route, the central route, and the western route. The eastern route was developed first. It follows the path of the Grand Canal, which is, wow, more than 1,400 years old. To modernize it, the canal was widened and deepened, new pumping stations were installed, and advanced technology was added. The biggest challenge of this route was lifting water upward since, the entire path is not downhill. To solve this, large pumping stations were built to move water step by step to higher levels. But there was another major issue: pollution. Many industrial areas were located along this route, and polluted wastewater was being discharged into rivers. If this contaminated water reached northern cities, it could pose serious health risks to millions of people. So, China launched massive cleanup efforts. Factories were shut down, stricter regulations were implemented, and water treatment plants were built. Now let's talk about the central route, which is the most important part of the entire project. It starts from the Danjiangkou Reservoir and travels about 1,400 kilometers to Beijing. The most remarkable feature of this route is that water flows entirely through gravity, without the need for pumps. But this came at a cost. To increase the reservoir's capacity, the dam height was raised, which caused nearby towns and villages to be submerged. More than 300,000 people were relocated and resettled in new areas. This became one of the largest resettlement programs in modern history. The engineering behind this project is truly extraordinary. In some places, canals pass over mountains. In others, tunnels cut through hills. There are even tunnels built beneath the Yellow River, allowing water to pass underneath without disrupting the river above. Now let's talk about the western route, which is the most ambitious part of the project. It aims to divert water from rivers in the Tibetan Plateau to northwestern China, but the geography here is extremely challenging. High altitudes, harsh weather, and seismic activity make construction very difficult. That is why this part of the project is still under study, and has not been fully developed yet. Today, the eastern and central routes are operational, transferring billions of cubic meters of water to northern China every year. Cities like Beijing now get around 70% of their water supply from this system. However, the problem has not been completely solved. Population continues to grow, industries are expanding, and water demand keeps increasing. This means the project is not a permanent solution, but rather a critical step that buys time. From a global perspective, very few countries have attempted projects of this scale. The United States moves water across California, but that operates on a regional level. China's system operates on a national scale. It has effectively created a new artificial river network by connecting multiple river systems. Water that once flowed into the ocean is now redirected thousands of kilometers inland to support cities and agriculture. Friends, this project is not just an engineering achievement. It is a reflection of a mindset. When the problem is massive, the solution must be equally bold. China did not just build canals, it challenged its geographical limitations. It proved that with determination and resources, humans can reshape nature itself. But this also raises important questions. Is this approach sustainable? Is it right to alter nature on such a large scale? What environmental consequences might appear in the future? And the most important question, can other countries do the same? If India were to face a similar water crisis, could it build such a project? The answers are not simple. But one thing is clear, in the future, water will become the most valuable resource, and the countries that can control it will lead the world. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share your